Hello, everybody out there in TikTok world, Facebook land, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere this is going to be going live. I appreciate you being here, and I'm probably not even on here. But hello, welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions. It is bright and early on what is today? A Wednesday, the 16th. Oh, how are y'all doing out there? Hopefully, y'all are doing great. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson, and it is my almost daily show to be with you people out there, to be with everybody out there. Let me do a couple things up here. Ta-da! There we go. All right. Hopefully, y'all are doing great out there. Let's see, the next couple days on Friday the 18th, which we will not be talking about it on that show, obviously, is the next Antarctic press drop. Mr. Ben Dunn got all the last one and the link thereof. So I'm not sure what we're getting dropped this coming Friday just yet, which we'll be talking about on Sunday the 20th. So, again, hopefully all you all are doing well out there in cyberspace. Oh, my body's tired. As the title says, body so tired. I've been pushing it pretty hard, trying to get the coop area fixed back there. Hung a new front gate that goes into the backyard because it was put together by a piece of shit that we had back there. And on the side of the house, and there was an old gate portion that they used at the front of the on the front porch, and it wasn't great at all. And it was made out of cedar and some cattle panels looking stuff. And I am lagging something horrible up here on OBS for some reason. Might stop the streaming on that one and just do the recording only. You hate when things lag. You hate when technology lags, on a regular basis. Now, that's what's happening anymore. Oh my goodness. But yeah, my body is super tired right now. It's screaming at me a little bit. And that's okay. That means I'm alive, right? But no. Um, I'm still trying to get my Illustrator up and running the way I want it to, and it just won't do it right now. I even had an IT guy basically. I mean, he did all the same. He looked up the same stuff that I looked up. So the things that he was telling me, and I appreciate him. Um, Technically, I had already done, and nothing was working. And so I'm still looking for another copy out there of Illustrator. That's it. A real copy, just like the one that I've got in my hands right here. My Adobe Creative Suite. This one right here. So I'm looking for another copy of it. Uh, the legit copy, not a bootleg copy or shit like that. Um, I've dealt with those bootleg copies before, and it is not pleasant. I need to do something up here real fast. Maybe. If it will pull down what the hell I want it to pull down. See if that changes some things down here. Everybody's a little laggy over there. But welcome to the show. Let's see. I'm doing a lot of custom works right now. Getting ready to do a custom Chuck Norris piece. I'm working on two different logos for one guy. I've got some more work getting ready to come in. So life is good as far as things go, except for my program not working. So it makes doing these hand logos difficult because basically I have to start over. And I don't think the person realizes, that I have to start over completely by hand. Um, But please like, share, and follow uh, the whole thing, and then you can go up here to my profile pic, and from there you can go and like, share, and follow my other pages. Which once you go to my website, you'll see the logo that's directly behind me. This one right here. Bum, bum, bum. And from there, you can follow the rest of my socials, which is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you're here on TikTok with me right now. Live and in, well, I can't say New York Central or anything like that because that's not where we're at. It's Wednesday morning here on the Central America. There you go. But we talk about everything here from real life to comic books to movies to whatever questions you guys have to pose to me. I'm adjusting my microphones again because it's just not in the right place, you know. Sometimes you get them in the right place and they sound really, really good in your own ears. Maybe not to you guys out there, but to me it sounds really, really good. And then other days it's just like, oh, we're so far away, but I can still hear, and it's still good because it's a professional microphone. I did burn the crap out of my fingers though, and that's my art fingers, my drawing fingers right there. See that right there? I don't know if you can see that or not, but you can see it on my thumb a little bit right there. Grabbed a hot piece of tile out of the fire pit. It was like on the outskirts of the fire pit, so I thought it would be okay. Reached down, grabbed it, and locked in on it, and my hand would not let it go. It would not register. And then next thing I know, it's just like super hot, and then I toss it. Yeah, smart thing to do. Normally, I would have gloves on whenever I'm doing all that stuff, but that day I did not. Yesterday, it was actually yesterday. I didn't have gloves on, and I paid the consequences for that, which sucked. But it is what it is. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. I'll have to break my little stick right there. Oh, you know, so the Barak will not pass. But fly, you fools. So, but yeah, doing all this stuff by hand, I'm not sure they realize that, you know, it's a lot more work than throwing it into a program and boom, done. Um, so, you know, I'm gonna have to restart this entire logo over again because he wants some changes, and with those changes, it's going to, you know, require it to be redone 100%, which sucks just because, you know, um, you've already put a lot of work into it, and now you've got to go in and, you know, redo it all again. So it's either that or find another program that I'm not 100% familiar with, you know, and start working it up in there. But you know, you learn programs and things of that nature, just like I learned, you know, Illustrator way back in the day when it first came out. And we started using it as a program for art. Oh my goodness, excuse me, for artwork and things of that nature. Um, you know, I've used Corel Draw. I've used, you know, a few other entities out there, but Illustrator was always the one that I loved the most. And Roy Joe Bradley Twilight Jr., welcome to the show. I'm glad you're awake, as you have been all night anyway. So welcome to the show, buddy. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, everybody that's popping in. Even if I don't know you personally, like I do the Mr. Royster there. He's a he's a friend of mine. We see each other. You know, we talk to each other. And you too can talk to me if you'd like. All you gotta do is DM me. You know, don't get all weird with it or things like that. Like some people get really weird on here, and you know, tell me, you know, that they like like my mouth and stuff like that. I mean, if you do, you do. That's fine. You know, I'm not gonna knock you for it. But when it comes from another guy, it's a little weird sometimes. Water, so refreshing to the body. So yeah, my body's tired. It feels like it's on the verge of worn out, but it's not. We still got lots of tread on these tires. Oh, life, life in a nutshell is great. Life throws you a lot of curveballs. Oh my goodness, throws you a lot of curveballs, and you just got to roll with the punches. I mean, that's what I'm doing with my program over here. Rolling with the punches with it. And you're hoping that you can get it to do what you want it to do. But so far, it's been no bueno. It is just like um, it just wants to do what it wants to do. And, I get that, over time, things change, things get shut down when it comes to, the not algorithms, but the programs themselves. Whenever they stop doing updates and things like, it's just like with Windows 10. Windows 10 is basically gone within the next month, or this month, or I don't know. I just saw a deal on it, and it's like trying to get you ready for Windows 11, and it's just like some people don't want the new technology. Some people don't want the new stuff, and it's just like Chat GPT, or it's just like there are certain things that they're good for, but for the rest of the world, like us traditional artists and things like that, they are a hindrance to us in reality. And it's just like they make crappy artwork is what they make. And I get it. It's good if you want a starting point to something, and then you want somebody to finish it off. Yeah, I totally understand that and get that. But when it comes to just letting it do everything for you, that ain't right. But no, today's show is going to be a little bit slower, folks. I feel. Um, I am. I'm not struggling. I'm just, there's not a whole lot to talk about today, other than burning my fingers and programs not working, which we've talked about. I'm practically to the point where I can start building the chicken coop, but we got to lay a concrete foundation first, which is going to be a 12 by 12 slab with 4 inches. And then we'll get the chicken coop on top of that, and it's just like one little thing after another, and you want to do things right with it all. You don't want to just rush it, and it's money. You got to have the money to do all this stuff too. I've got a lot of posts that I can be putting in the ground, but I got to have the concrete. So it's money, 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 and we're getting ready to take a little trippy trip with her sister, the girlfriend's sister, and her boyfriend, and we're gonna try and have some fun. We were gonna have a little bit more fun, but things happen. That money stuff happens and gets in the way. And it's all good. We will survive. This too we this too shall we shall survive. I can't say, I can't even get it out, but we shall survive. We will get by with it. And you know, but if you are one of those millionaire people out there that have made your millions and are still making your millions, then be one of my sponsors. You know, because that will help offset my costs of the booth rentals and things like that at the conventions, the comic book conventions. And your name will go on everything, you know, as one of the sponsors. Unless you want to be a silent sponsor, and then there will be a spot for that as well, which will just be a head count, silent sponsors, you know. But no, I do appreciate each and every one of you stopping in, checking out the channel, even if it is for just a few moments, and then you jet off because it's just like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm listening to this shit, you know. But it's life. It happens. I get it. You hit the wrong button. But no, we try to have a lot of fun here, on a regular basis. It's just right now I am super tired. Not like sleepy tired, but you know, exhaustion. 100% exhaustion. And you know that's I get that periodically from my body, especially whenever I pushed it day after day after day. And basically I've been moving 150 to 175 pound pallets by myself because these are drywall pallets. These aren't your typical small pallets. You know, your 4x6 or 4x5 or whatever they are. These things are about 5 foot tall by 8.5 foot long. You know, and then I've got three big pallets up here that now I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with them. They are great themselves, um, but they're about 200 pounds a piece. Uh, they are literally almost 6 foot tall. They come up to my shoulder as I'm standing next to them. And then they are definitely all of 9 foot long, give or take. Maybe a little bit longer than that. But um, they are super heavy. They've got over an inch and a half of wood building these things, uh, like 1.5 by 6s or something like that. And then the particle board that I took off of them alone is, you know, a good 175 pounds, you know, per board, and that they had affixed to it by nails. And so I've been moving all this stuff. And then those of you that don't know, that didn't watch any of my stories or watch anything that's on my page, you know, I had a big old branch about this big around go through my windshield of my car that sits here. That has, I mean, it still runs, but it doesn't run great. But it still, you know, had a small crack in the windshield, but now it's got a big hole in the windshield. And then the gear shifter got bent over in half, and we're talking steel that's this thick, you know, a steel bar like this that got bent in half, you know, by the weight of this tree, you know. So there you go. You know, it's that car is for the trash heap, basically, if you will, because I don't know what all damage happened in the drive shaft area, the gears, whenever that bent that post over like that. So you know, when it rains, it pours, is what we talked about on the last show, and that was just one of the things. And it's just like one thing after another is what has been happening here lately. And it's just like I can't get out from under certain things, and one thing compounds another, and compounds another, and so on and so forth. And it's just like, well, what can we do here? What can we do to make life a little better? Got my therapy appointment today. I got a dinner today. Let's see. This weekend, the 19th, is the show that two of my pieces are going to be in. A MH awareness, and I don't want to get restricted up here, so I've got to say certain keywords. Um, and and so that's going to be exciting. I still have it. I'm still debating because it's from like 5 to 7 p.m. on that night to see if we're going to make it or not. Just because I thought we were going to be doing some other things, but oh, stretch. But those things might have, not, or those things might not happen or fall through or something like that. But which means that I would be able to make it. So that would be cool to see all the work that's in there besides my own. But we'll see. We have debated whether we're going or not, and we haven't fully talked about it. We still have a few more days to talk about it. I was actually supposed to get Chelsea the artwork on the 14th, but apparently that didn't happen because I still have it. So that means I'll have to give it to her the day of the show, unless we go to the show. And I don't know what time they're setting up, so I'll have to get with her because she's out until the 18th, doing some things. And I keep looking over there because that's where my calendar is. So I apologize that I'm not looking at you, the group. But then I see, you know, all these hosts walk off to go do something off camera all the time. And I mean, I do that periodically whenever the pig gets up and we have to take her outside to go potty and all that good stuff. But no, I'm looking forward to all this new artwork that I'm doing, all the new stuff that's happening. And, it's just like I'm ready to do some new stuff. I'm ready to get off of this logos and, get on to something else, something more fun. Especially whenever, you get it all done and you've shown them what it was going to look like. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's like, oh, they want to change it. Now I've got to redo the whole drawing. So, it's all good. But that's how art goes sometimes. And it's what they want. You've got to cater to what the customer and clientele wants. And it'd be a lot faster, like I said, if I had my program up and running. Just because, oh, you need that change to this, okay, no problem. We'll switch that up. Do this, do that. Boom, done. But no, this I have to completely redo the piece. Um, and so, it is what it is, and I will roll with those punches and go on. But yeah, you want it to go quick and easy. Woo, excuse me. But it doesn't always go that way because the client has something specific in mind that they're looking for, and that's why they go to the AI programs and have it create something similar to what they want, and then they want to adjust and tweak those things from there, and that's totally fine, and I get that, and it's just remember us artists because we do have to do things that take time, especially when you're doing it all by hand. And so, but it is what it is, and we will get it done, and we will get it to them in a timely manner. It's for his clothing line and different things that he's working with. Um, so it's all good. We will get it to where it needs to be, and we will move forward. Still got to do my voice recordings. They were supposed to be filming in April or May, but he said something about June. So I've got to get those to him pretty ASAP. Um, and so got to get back on that. I haven't been on track with that in a little bit, which is my fault. Because I've been doing everything else and I've been worrying about this, not worrying about, but trying to get this drawing for this, you know, at a good place. And I thought I did have it in a good place, but then he wanted some changes that are going to take some time, just because you're doing it by hand, folks. I don't have my trusty dusty computer to do it for me. So I might end up start looking for some new programs, like I said, to see what I can find out there that that I don't have to pay a subscription for. That's what I hate about Illustrator right now or Adobe right now is that you have to have a subscription to this cloud-based program. And That's the stupidest thing in my opinion ever. Give me the hard disk so I can put it on, whatever I want. I mean, I know I can put it on whatever I want to because it's a cloud-based program. But I just hate the fact that, you know, as it says in the very, very fine print, that they basically own your artwork whenever you do it, that they can use it at any particular time on anything that they want to. That's a no go for me. Because what I design in there is mine. It is not yours. Yes, I used your program, but that does not entitle it to be yours, and you should not be able to use it at any point in time without my consent or without paying me for it. And so that is one of the topics that has been up for discussion on the new Adobe stuff coming out with the cloud based programming and all that stuff, is that they can use it whenever they like, however they like, without your consent. And that's a no go for me. So, you know, again, it is what it is, but, I don't have to like it and I don't have to use it. That's why I use the older technology, which does not use the cloud based programming, but yet now is not working. So, I've got one more, possibly two more things to try to see if I can get it to work. And if not, I've got to do something different. I've been trying to find a upgrade, which is CS6 from the CS4, but apparently nobody has a copy of it out there, and or um, the copies I am finding, not the copies, the originals that I am finding on like eBay and things like that, they want an astronomical amount for, and it's just like, how old this program is, right, folks? There's no reason why it should be $300 or up to $800 for this program. And it's just like, I can find the student and teacher editions out there of it, but then it comes down to, well, I don't have a student code or a teacher code. I don't have the serial number for it at that point in time, because you have to have all of these for it to work. And it's just like, oh my lord, can somebody just have the regular copy out there of CS6, Adobe Master Suite CS6, that they don't want an arm and a leg for, please? That I can get relatively cheaper or free. And I know I can download it and do the whole serial number generator and all that stuff. Do it offline, and it's just like, no, it's just a hassle. It's a pain in the ass, and I don't want to go through all that rigmarole with it. That's why it's always just best to have the legit copy, and that way you can plug it in wherever you want to. And that's what I'm looking for. So if you have it out there, please consider sending it my direction. Uh, because unfortunately, without this program working, I'm dead in the water with a lot of things that I do. Um, all of my print work, all of my uh, logo designs for uh, myself, my own comic book, and things of that nature. I'm dead in the water without this program. And it's just like, you don't realize how much you use a program for until it's not working the way you want it to work, you know? And that's sad that it stopped working the way it has, because it was working all the way up until just about a month and a half ago. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't save anything. I couldn't open anything. Welcome back there, Mr. Roy Joe Bradley Jr., Twilight Bradley Jr. Welcome back to the show. As you keep jumping off and going and doing other things, I get it. But the NFL draft is coming up here shortly, within the next week, the 24th. Almost a week. It'll be 8 days from now, the 24th. And a lot of people are looking forward to that. We are as well. But, you know, there's a lot of mock drafts out there that everybody does, that they're predicting, who's going to be, the first pick to, and the first 32 picks. for each team, and that's a lot of picks. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of good talent coming into this draft this year. So that's a plus. But it also means that you might not get the person you really want, you know, and you have to settle for somebody you might not have heard of. But in the running draft class, there's a lot, and that's what one of the big needs of the Cowboys is a running back as well as a wide receiver, and then another wide receiver to go with their WR1. But yeah, we're looking forward to the draft. Roy and I are anyway. I don't know about the rest of you um, out there, but we are gonna have fun with it. I think, and I think we're gonna get some people we really need when it comes down to it, and you know, it should be fun. Should be exciting all the way around. And yeah, got to get back into some fishing too. Got to get back into some fishing. Oh my goodness. 547 yards. 5 football fields right here in my hand of fishing line. It's a braided fishing line, kind of like a spider wire. But it's just one of them things that got to get on my rods and, you know, get out there and get me catching some fishes for the frizzer. Catching some fishes for the frizzer. No, you just look at stuff all over your desk, and it's just like, why is this still here? What am I doing with this? What is this doing? It's just one of those things that I've got to clean my office 100%. And a week from tomorrow, what are you talking about? Draft's the 24th. It's a Thursday. It'll be a week from tomorrow. What are you talking about? A week from tomorrow? Yes, 1 week from tomorrow, the draft does happen. So yeah, but no, you look around and it's just like this is a bomb shelter, or a bomb went off in here, and it really has. I mean, it's this place is horrible. I can barely walk around in here right now, and I need to get it all cleaned up. But then you got like it's just like well, and then I need places to go with all my comic book boxes and things like that. So it's just like I need more room in here is what I need. Excuse me. And once I get some more room in here, it'll help. I can move around a little easier. I don't bump into these comic book boxes over here and those type things. But it is what it is. It's the room I've got, and that's where we come at you live and bring you everything that you want to hear and talk about, or try to anyway. I don't know what you guys want to talk about. You know, and sometimes I let you guys out there run the show sometimes by your comments and what you ask. You know, but most of the time we end up talking about the homestead, the artwork that I'm working on. Um, Still working on the comic book cover back here. I haven't touched it in a few weeks, in about a week, just because I've been working on a bunch of other stuff. Um, Hold on, let me see what you asked. You just said good morning. You didn't ask a question. So if you ask a question, it's 6 miles back, and I don't even see it anywhere. I'm double checking here, but I'm not seeing no question. Um, there's that comment there, and then there's the good morning, and that's it. There's no question in there, so you must have thought it and not typed it. So if you have a question, Roy, go ahead and ask what your question is, because it is not there, or at least not on this side. You might have put it in one of the other social media somewhere out there, like on Instagram or text message in one of your 15 phones that you own. All those drug phones that you have, and then your 13 different TikTok identities that you use, or your 10 Instagrams or Facebook, even Messenger. So if you did ask, go ahead and hit me up again with your question, because I don't see it. And I'm kidding about all the accounts. He does have quite a few, but that's just like some of us can't remember what the password was and all that good stuff. So, you know, you create a new, create a whole new identity out there in the world of the Ethernet, of the ether web, all that good stuff. So, but if that's the case, Roy, I'm not seeing any questions come through, dude. I don't know where you're asking these questions at, but I'm not seeing anything come through. Uh, so I don't know where you're asking this question at. I don't know if you're asking it here or, I don't know where you're asking this question at, because nothing's coming through until you ask me, did you get it? And that means if you're seeing that, then it's a no. Um, nope. I am getting some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. So you must be asking something pretty erroneous. But no, it's not. It's not putting it up here. All I'm getting is, did you get it now? And I put it on here twice. It's not coming through from my on my end, so I don't know what's going on. I don't have a restriction either, so you must be asking something pretty off the wall. So I don't know what you're asking. But do it this way. Um, go over to Facebook and ask the question real fast over there. Is that what you're asking? Are you ready to go eat tonight? And it's filtering that out. Wow, interesting. Well, of course, yes, we're always ready to go out to eat, and it's always fun to get together and catch up in really real life. So yeah, no, yes, okay. Because if that's what you asked right there, then yes, I don't know why it would be filtering that out for the community standards. Um, like I said, it said the whole to protect the community's experience and going out to eat. I don't understand why it would be blocking that up. You know, just because you're going out to eat some food. Oh, that's probably why it filtered it out then. But yeah, you can text me what you exactly said, and you know, we'll go from there with that. So, but yeah, if you put it in some weird way, then yeah, then that's why it filtered it, because it's not going to let you do that apparently here, even though there is free speech. We are a free to choose community and society out there, and apparently, their AI bots that they use for their algorithms and things like that shut things down to protect the community's experience, even though we are a more adult oriented show here. We don't play tiddlywink, fuck giving, and all that good stuff around here. You want to say what's on your mind, you say what's on your mind. It's we're not. I'm not going to filter what you say. I'm not going to censor what you say. If you want to type fuck in the comment section, go for it. And yeah, apparently they are watching you on a tighter basis. You've been in jail, you've been to prison, and you were Bubba's love slave. So all that good stuff. And they're still trying to get a max prison here in Arkansas, and nobody wants it. So a super max. Now they're trying to put it out at Fort Chaffee, and a lot of people are up in arms about that because it's already failed. The one that they were already starting to build, clearing land and all that stuff, has already failed here in Arkansas 4 different times. And how many times do you have to take it before in a court of appeals and it gets shot down? 4 to 5 times before you're like, oh, they really don't want this thing here. You know, and that's what's happened to the one that they were already proposing building and did it behind everybody's backs without a vote and all that good stuff, and brought the communities up in arms because they were putting it right in their backyard. And now they're proposing to take it over to Fort Chaffee, which is, not too far from me. And, I have life saving devices in my house so that if, you know, someone were to escape that was a high profile criminal or something like that and tried to break into my house, would not fare well. Let's just put it that way. No, there's one really, really close right here in Lavaca area that they're doing, and now I just saw a thing that someone posted on Facebook about them trying to move it over to Chaffee. So yeah, there's one super close right here in Lavaca area, just outside of Lavaca, um, that they started clearing the land for and all that good stuff, and it's been shot down 4 different times. Uh, the votes came in and it was nay all the way across the board almost, and so now they're looking for a new spot for it. And like I said, Chaffee was the next destination. I've got a screenshot of it somewhere, and it's just like, well, good luck with that because you're still going to get people that don't want it there either. But if the right money talks and Chaffee's like, well, that's a good chunk of change, then yeah, we'll take it. It could end up right there, a supermax prison right there. That houses the violent offenders and down to your lowest petty theft. You know, but you still have that opportunity that they could escape. Right in your own backyard. I think one of the most exciting things that have happened here, besides being a haunted house that I live in, was the fact that there was a police chase in my backyard. You know, and they caught the dude in my backyard. And had I not have just put the rocks out there, he might have still ran across the yard or something like that. But he ended up tripping over the rocks that I just placed back there that I was going to put around my fire pit, and they ended up catching him pretty easy at that point in time after he jumped the fence. And so it's just like, well, it was a good thing I put the rocks out there then. It was like mini landmines that he ran into. But ended up finding like a crack pipe and a bunch of other stuff that he threw out of his pockets in my yard. Uh, and I wouldn't have even known it had I not been walking the yard and found a bunch of change by the fence and some and like a lighter and some other things. And then I happened to see a police officer walk in the area looking, and he was like, "Yeah, we chased a guy on foot through your yard, and he ended up tripping over those rocks right there. And we're just seeing if he threw anything out of his pockets." I said, "Well, I found a bunch of change and a lighter and a crack pipe. If you want all that." And he's like, "No, you can keep the change and all that stuff. We'll take the lighter and the crack pipe." And then a few days later, I found another crack pipe that had I guess it rained or something and it was buried in the ground a little bit. But yeah, so yeah, life is exciting in this little neck of the woods. Actually, we have a lot of police chases that happen right down the road right here. Not down our main road, but to the one uh, to our south. And you know, there's high speed car chases that go down that way towards the big beer can. If you're in this area, you know what I'm talking about. And that happens on a regular basis. I've had 5 different high speed police chases down that road. I mean, it's just like, and then they get like 4 or 5 different jurisdictions involved to chase down one car. You know, that's wreaking havoc or causing damage or those type of things. But yeah, it happens on a more regular basis than people would think. So, but it's a great little spot to be in. You get to watch and listen. Yeah, no, I'm just looking because I'm desperately trying to get my program to work and trying to figure out why it's not doing what I want it to do. I thought it was like a graphics driver thing or something like that, but all of that's up to date. So I don't know what is going on with it. So if you're a techie guy out there and you want to try and help me out with my Illustrator problem, Adobe Illustrator problem, blah, 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 please do so. Please hit me up. Like I said, I've already got one guy who basically gave me all the information that I have already tried, and but he's a good dude, and he builds and rebuilds computers and things like that, and I am in the market for a new computer, but I don't know if that's going to fix my problem or not when it comes to everything. I mean, I'm hoping it does whenever I do happen to get a new computer, and unfortunately, it will have Windows 11 technology on it. All that AI crap that they're wanting to shove down everybody's throats, which I can't stand. Being a traditional artist because it does not make good art. It does not. It makes fancy art. It makes some fancy art, but it doesn't make good art. I've seen some of the shit that it produces, and it is just that shit. And it but yet people are like, "Oh my gosh, that's so great! It looks so good." And it's just like, are you blind? You know. And I know a lot of people love their AI technology and stuff that it does for them, but it's worthless to me. You know, it will not be used by me. Anytime it asks, "Do you want AI turned on?" It's like, no, no thanks. I don't want you know, Google AI. I don't want you know, uh, Apple AI. I don't even have it turned on my phone. So, but it's just like everywhere you turn, AI, 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 AI. I mean, even the movies that they're doing now, like Afraid. I mean, that was a decent one, uh, and that was a decent movie, but it still is showing what AI is doing in the world, which is taking over everything. And like I said, people like it, people love it, and then you have the other side of it that people hate everything that AI stands for. You know, artificial intelligence, and you can't get away from it no matter what you do. No matter where you are in life, you can't get away from it. And it's just something we're gonna have to live with until the day we die. My death will be sooner than everybody else's, uh, just because I'm already half a century years old. So at 53, and it's just like some of you that are popping up on my channel weren't even born yet. 50 years ago, or 53 years ago. I mean, how many of you can raise your hands? And I know one of you can that are were born in the 70s. You know, how many on here were born in the 80s? I mean, you can raise your little hand on there. You know, how many of you were born in the 90s? you know, and then you get into the how many of you were born just like in the early 2000s or mid 2000s, and then the hands are going to start raising higher and higher, you know, because it's just like the 90s to 2000s seems to be, you know, the the outspoken generation, the Gen Xers out here. We want to be left alone. I guess if we're cryo frozen, and sent to Mars or something, that could be the fountain of youth right there. But they could. I mean, Ponce de Leon was looking for it out there, and apparently, supposedly, he found it, um, but didn't share the location with the rest of the world. It's just like all that gold bullion that's supposedly still buried all over the place, and like Oak Island that they're still digging up, and other spots, other treasure seekers are trying to track down these big treasures and things like that. And it's just like, who's to say that there was even a treasure back then? You know, what if their treasure was their their cutlass or things of that nature, and they put you on this big goose hunt for now a rusted piece of metal that might not even be in existence anymore. You but it is what it is. I mean, people want to chase those dreams of finding that big gold treasure out there that supposedly Blackbeard hid on an island somewhere with his parrot. His parrot was with him, and he put it inside with it all. So now you have parrot bones whenever you open it up, and now you're cursed because of the parrot bones. But you know, it's all fun and games. I mean, life is about having fun, and if you can't have some fun, even when your body is tired, you know, then you're a super old soul, and you're not gonna have fun no matter what happens. You know, because today at some point in time I'll be tilling up a garden. Hopefully, it's not going to go fast just because the the tiller needs some work. But I've got my compost back there. I've got ash back there. I've got to separate some things out here and there, um, because there's still a little bit of trash in the ash area uh, that was already there. That's what we had to clear out to make that garden area back there. And so now it just comes down to tilling up the ground, making sure the pH level is still good, and then putting my plants in. So I've got a ton of plants waiting. I've got a ton of plants ready to go, and then I'll be starting a bunch by seed. A lot of it's I should have already had in the ground already. So, but it's neither here nor there. Sometimes things just go slow. Well, you get over here and help me till, Mr. Roy Joe Bradley Jr. I've already got a peach tree in the ground. I've got two more peach trees and a and two plum trees to put in the ground as well. Um, so I'm trying to make sure those are still good. They kind of dried out a little bit, so they've been soaking in some water. So I got to make sure that they're still good. But hopefully they are, and I'll get them in the ground today, as long as they look okay. Whenever I go look at them in the light of day, which will be here in the next 2 hours or so, about 7:15, 7:30, somewhere in that range. Whenever I go let the chickens out to run and free range all over the place. So yeah, it's going to be good and exciting, and it's just one step closer to complete and full independence on things, just because that's how we truly want to live, is independent of having to go to the grocery store every other day to get lettuce or cabbage or broccoli or cauliflower or whatever you go buy on a regular basis, when I can just go to my backyard, pull it out of the ground, chop it up, or even pull just just leaves here and there and let the thing keep growing. And makes things easier and better that way. Uh, and it's cleaner on your body because of all the chemicals they put on things nowadays. You know, but but we'll see. Sometimes you have these grand schemes in your head, and things don't always go the way you want them to, and things fucking piece of shit. Thank you, Mister TikTok, with your puzzle piece that I have to slide. Um, And so, sometimes things go awry. Sometimes you get the slug infestation. Sometimes you get the ant infestation. Sometimes you get the rabbit infestation. That's why you put a barrier around so that those little critters don't get in there. And then you dust your ground with some diatomaceous earth or some other things to keep the ants and the aphids and the is that still chicken? Yeah, and the slugs off of your produce and stuff like that. So, but yeah, Mr. Roy, I will be out there before the whole rain comes this weekend. So if you are doing some Easter egg hunting plans, you might want to think about bringing them inside because I hear it is supposed to be raining on Easter Day, which is what, Easter Sunday. Yes, Easter Sunday the 20th, when we'll be talking about Antarctic Press products that we got dropped on Friday. But yeah, no, we're getting closer and closer to tilling up, and then getting to be able to dig this greenhouse into the ground. We're going to do an in-ground greenhouse, and we're going to build it out of uh, tires and, of course, wooden walls, and then tires for the heat, and then windows as your main upper section. Since there are no trees around it, it makes it that much easier. And yes, a rainy Easter Sunday. So it's just like when Halloween gets cold or rainy. It's you just have to roll with the punches with it and see what's going to happen. So, but yeah. But if you're into the Easter Sunday type of thing, where you're having to rush around and buy your all of your Easter goodies, you're a little late to the party almost. You've got a couple more days before that day happens. So you better rush out there and get it all done, especially your milk and eggs and your bread with the storm coming for the weekend. And I hate drivers in the rain too. They slow down like 15 miles below the speed limit. Oh my gosh, it's raining. Oh, oh, oh. I'm like, meow. Oh, it's like you guys are idiots. Don't impede traffic either when it rains. Move over to the lane. Move over to the next lane, to the right hand lane, unless you're in a different country, and then it's the left hand lane. You know, so all that good stuff. And I know some of you are from other countries, and it's okay. We love you here too. But no, we just like to have fun here at our channel. And I know today was a little bit slower, a little bit more dry, if you will, than what we normally have going on. But there's just not a ton of new stuff to talk about. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I can't show, you know, and that's the bad thing about being an artist and you can't show what you're working on because um, confidentiality agreements until it's ready to be produced and shown to the world. But hopefully you'll get on board with my cover for this comic book because it is going to drop as a PDF first, and then after that it will be um, hopefully if there's enough sales of it on PDF version and variety, it will go to a physical copy. So there's that. There's no such thing as a bad steak unless somebody overcooked it. Now it's you that's going to be eating like a burger or a chicken fried something or other. That's going to be the bad section. So, but yes, steak is always great and always good to have. That medium, which still red to pink in the middle. The oozy goodness whenever you cut into it. And all right, folks, I am going to kill it for now. I do appreciate each and every one of you being here, checking out the channel, and sticking it out for this whole thing. Yes, I saw you change some words up there, buddy. But as I like to say as I leave you, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.